I'm running late. So, and I'm sorry about that. That was my fault. That was
That's all right. That's all good.
hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I have one of my favorite guests with me. It's become a thing that we do a show every 2 weeks, and today we're going to have a really fun show for you guys. We're going to be pulling readings on people like JFK, Princess Di, Elvis, who, Elvis had a lot of occult, and I did a whole show on the occult Elvis. Like, he used to go around with him to, well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But who I have with me is Pink Bell Aloha. She's a certified quantum light body practitioner, certified Reiki master, Tai Chi practitioner, certified crystal and 12 chakra and instructor and practitioner, life empowerment coach, Pink Bell Aloha therapy. She does ascension, multidimensional guide and wayshower, 12 chakra energy clearings, energy balance and quantum healing, higher self liaison, twin flames of divine union, star seeds, soul missions and abundance, Akashic records readings, and she's an empowerment intuitive coach, and I'm really excited to have her back on the show today. Pink Bella, thank you for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay? And everyone hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
guys. Also, I'm going to turn her up a little bit, her volume up a little bit. But like, tell me if you can hear us good. Like, if we're both good on your end, or if one of us is louder than the other, then we can adjust the volume as we go.
And, that would be great, because I'm not sure, because Rob and I sound okay to each other.
Yeah, and I don't have like a sound equalizer or anything, so I don't know.
Anyway, aloha everyone. Aloha Rob, really excited to be here today and to look at some of our famous star seeds. That'll be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And also we're gonna just talk a little bit too about the new moon in Aquarius and the year of the dragon, which officially starts the 9th and the 10th of February. So that's just a couple of days away.
Is that good for manifesting, or is that bad for us? Like, will it get worse or better?
Really good. Really good. So a new moon is about new beginnings anyway. And what we're all starting to understand, me included, is that the lunar moon, the Chinese New Year, they base that New Year on it's around the new moon, which is new beginnings, which is powerful for manifesting. And this year, the fact that the dragons, they're helping so many of us help so many starseeds and light workers this year. For everyone, I feel like by the end of the year, everyone will be on mission. Everyone will be on mission. Everyone will be receiving their abundance for that mission, because the dragons are actually clearing away all the old, and they're moving in, like the angelics have been working with us. They're moving in to be our protectors and our guides, which is awesome.
That is awesome. I feel like it is a time for new beginnings. Like, I feel like some of us are like clearing out, like, as far as like people in our lives that may have not worked out, and we're meeting new people. So that's happening too. So maybe that has something to do with like the astrological alignment as well.
I feel like all of January was a tidy up of like who's going to be in our reality, who isn't, what direction do we want to go in. So we didn't really have, all planets didn't go direct till the 27th of January. And so, and I found last weekend was the 2-2 portal, was that's a very powerful manifesting portal too. But apparently in the occult world, that's a big weekend that they do all their magic too. So isn't that interesting? So I went and did some grid work a big grid work assignment in Vancouver on Monday, but I was going to go Friday. And then at the last minute, my team said, no, don't go. Wait until Monday, because apparently there's been a lot. I'm going to be dropping a video later today, but there's been a lot of interference with a lot of starseeds and light workers, like over last weekend. A lot of sort of strange things. So I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed any sort of strange people or aggressive people in your reality, or if anybody else did. But that was Team D sort of trying to come in and just interfere with our our empowerment, our confidence, our abilities to move forward, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I did notice that. Like, you can notice it in like people. Yeah, I did notice it for sure. It's weird. It's so that was all. Wow. That's I don't know what to say about that. I've had a couple experiences now that I'm thinking back on it, where it just, things didn't seem right, and people were acting like overly aggressive, and I was like, why is this happening? So now that makes sense as to why that might have been going on.
So I never noticed that until I have clients email me. So I had a few regular clients all email me thinking that they personally were under attack, that they had done something wrong. And I was like, no, like there's some kind of clearing, oh, we can ease into this, some kind of clearinghouse, like we're being shown. So it's it's the final battle. It's the final, like we're taking our power back, and they don't want us to take our power back. Team D, whether we want to call them, the beings that are on the planet, the Dracos, whatever, archons, whatever version we're working with, because everybody's working with like at a different version depending on where they're at. I think what we're being shown is maybe people, maybe ancestral, maybe past timelines. Like I think Mercury moved into Aquarius just a few days ago, and then I realized, see, Mercury's the communicator, the one that moves us forward quite quickly. It doesn't stay in signs very long. And so we've got a few planets in Aquarius right now, including Pluto, and Mercury was like, are you sure you want this person in your life? Like, think about what just happened. Has that happened before? Do you want to clean that up? So there was a lot of ancestral cleanup, a lot of like people kind of, it was a little bit like a mini Mercury retrograde, really. And we're going to keep getting that all year. We're going to have that all year about like just reevaluating who's in our life, who are we handing our power over to. This is a huge empowerment year for all of us. Huge step, all as humanity stepping into our power this year. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, where do you want to go into the, did you do a card pull for the collective?
I did. I'll just briefly, I'll just read something about the new moon in Aquarius and the lunar New Year of the Dragon. So everybody, in case they haven't had a chance to look at that. So that's the 9th and the 10th of February. Powerful day to set intentions and manifest. Okay. And then don't forget, we've got the Year of the Dragon all year up until February next year. Okay. So the new moon is in Aquarius, which will align the start of the lunar new year, the beginning of the year with the dragon. Things are shifting rapidly and destiny is unfolding. So there's no going back. This is a time for introspection, self-discovery, spiritual awakening, bringing opportunities to expand our reality and our perspectives. It's also a reset, and it's embracing a big transformation. So it's a huge time right now to so if we think about when we move into the new year, as a collective, we have New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day. This is actually the time. So this is actually like we're going like the 9th, the new moon, I would consider New Year's Eve. And the 10th, the Lunar New Year, would be New Year's Day. Or 9th, 10th, 11th, somewhere in that. Okay. So it's a reset, a time to rethink our goals, set our intentions, and a great time to set long-term intentions as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good year. I have a feeling for it. I really do. Okay, so we have an issue. I wanted to make sure of this. Okay, so the comments aren't coming through on StreamYard. That's why I was kind of quiet. I was like seeing what was going on, because I was seeing if the comments were coming through, and the comments are definitely not showing up on StreamYard. So whatever you're seeing there, I pulled the comments up on my phone.
You're right. They're from YouTube. Yeah. I do see them. I clicked on the comment thing, and I do see the Andromedan, Aloha Andromedan, and I do see a few people from my tribe, Aloha tribe. So maybe can you see on StreamYard, can you click on the comment to the right?
I'm trying to refresh the comments now and see if they'll show up, but I had to pull them up on my phone. Now they are. Okay, now they're good. Okay, sorry. Okay. I just had to refresh it.
No.
But I was like worried about that,
Of course, because you want to see the comments.
It's easier for me to see it on StreamYard,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we're heading into a very positive, powerful time, powerful year. It doesn't mean there's not going to be stuff happening this year. But the other really amazing thing is that we have all planets direct until April 1st. So
what's that mean?
That means full momentum. Like when a planet goes into retrograde, depending on where it is in our chart, we're rethinking, redoing, lessons are coming back to clarify and move forward. So we've got full support from the universe without any push from the astrology to put blocks in our way, basically. So we've got full steam ahead, which is really awesome. The other thing is that the other two powerful events, and Rob and I will talk about this later on, but we've got the equinox in March, which will be in the northern hemisphere, will be going from from winter to spring. Southern hemisphere from summer to fall. And then we have the eclipse, the great eclipse that's going to be going over the US on the 8th of April as well. So we've got a lot of, and what I found with already looking at February, this is a month of celebration and high vibration and joy, and really like we're getting a break this month. Really, like we're getting a break to just embrace and set intentions and enjoy life, and create a momentum around new things that we want. So if, let's say, Rob, you have like some other projects you're thinking about, this is a great month to start working on those.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, yeah.
Yeah, so you might have some ideas that you've been thinking about, or maybe something that didn't work out the last couple of months that kind of got blocked, or you got, taken off somewhere else. You can kind of, this is a time we're getting a little bit of time to breathe. So
listen to this.
What?
So things are going completely haywire. So I forgot to tell people about this. I'm going to have to announce this on my channel too. So these problems with Spotify are continuing. They're threatening to take me off Spotify completely.
Oh, wow.
I got an email from Spotify for podcasters that said something was weird with my account, and they're like, they're going to try to they're going to delete my podcast tomorrow off Spotify. I'll still be on all the other audio platforms, but like I'm going to have to make a new Spotify account. I don't know what I did. I don't think I did anything. This is just, I feel like targeting.
It's probably similar to so this is actually a good topic. All of the platforms got really upgraded through December. So everything at the back end is like an AI scanning device. So they're scanning for certain words. So you even sharing this with me means that they came across something in some of your podcasts that they didn't like.
But did you know why I feel like it's targeting? Because just last night I switched over to Spreaker, so all my audio will still be on Spreaker. I'll still be on Apple Podcasts. I'll still be on Amazon Music. But I just said last night, I put out a thing to my YouTube community. I was like, I just recovered a bunch of audio files I lost. So I was like, you can listen to me on Spreaker or Spotify. As soon as I said that, I got the letter from Spotify saying they want to delete my account. So I tried contacting their customer service because I have to be on Spotify. Like, I don't know why it's happening. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, and it's probably some type of interference. So this is a good option. This is a good topic for us. So you do your version of clearing around this, like clearing like this old timeline, maybe, that because I remember you moved from Spotify. There was something else before when we first started working together. There was something with Spotify, and somebody brought up a good point. If Joe Rogan can be on Spotify, why can't you? Exactly. So you're going to want to reclaim that with the universe. You're going to want to reclaim a timeline where you can be on Spotify, and it's fine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
unless they're just targeting certain podcasts or certain people, you know what I mean?
They may be, but I affirm that you can even get in touch with somebody, that you can talk to a person and get it sorted out, because that's very strange. Very strange. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I was just reading a comment. Dawn says, "Hey Rob, think one of your frequent guests and a person as far as been hacked or tampered with had huge attacks going on."
There are. Yeah. That was sort of the theme. I didn't want to use that word, but that was the theme over the weekend, that I was getting messages from clients thinking that they were personally under attack. And in a way we all were, in like having blocks and everything. So Rob, this is an example that you're sharing with everyone of something that's come your way that makes absolutely no sense. So I always look at that as interference. So later, do your version of like clearing and setting an intention that everything will be okay, and then just surrender it to the universe. And like you contact the people, right? That's all we can do. But I feel it will be okay. I can pull some cards on it in a little bit if you want. But I think it's just it's an example of where you're being shown like where there's some interference for you.
I mean, I'm just gonna lose. I have like 4,000 followers on Spotify.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm gonna lose that. Like that. That's like it's crazy.
It is crazy. So why don't I do the collective reading first of all, and then I can pull some cards on it and see what's going on.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So everyone, this is a collective reading for all of us. I just asked in general for the year of the dragon and the new moon what we would like to know. So I got some dragon messages for us as well. And the first off message I got was Merkaba activation. So this is going to be a very The solar flares are going to get more intense. We're going to have more upgrades, more downloads, ascension symptoms, because we're being recalibrated with the new grid system. We're being recalibrated with the next level. And that's what I got. The message I got in January was our physical avatars are still going through an upgrade process, and that this year is going to be intense. So this is like for our ascension. Oh, I love the message. It says you are rising up. So we're all rising up as a collective. The dragon that came in with that is the rose pink dragon. This is a great dragon that works with our heart and our cosmic heart. And it's the rose pink dragon is coming in to say, just remember when things happen to go back. You can use this dragon to have this like pink energy come in and around you and bring you back into your heart. And it helps to connect you with the love of the universe, that you were loved and supported. And a reminder with anyone that's going through anything like strange, frustrating right now, that's down here. Like that's the matrix. That's not the universe not loving and supporting us. That is that's the crazy, like we never know one day to the next what's going to be thrown at us, right? Okay. Yeah. The next message we got is the Holy Grail, which I love. I love that. So that's what this is, a message for the whole year, a time of inner discovery, and you are what you seek. So a reminder to go within, to meditate, to find those tools that you can just drop everything if you're feeling frustrated and go do something. And that could even be, a lot of starseeds like to go exercise, workout, run, that kind of thing. That's a great way to burn off old energy and receive messages. And the dragon that came in with that one is the orange dragon. There's all sorts of different colored dragons with different frequencies. The orange dragon is bringing soul families and communities together. So I really feel like this dragon is working to bring us all together, to keep positive, right? And orange is a very positive, joyful color. It says spread belonging, warmth, and oneness, bringing people everywhere together. Yeah. And just me thinking about it, this could very well, we'll see what the reading is for you, Rob, but this very well could be a year of some platforms like change or vanish, and we might end up with new platforms. So,
Yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah.
true.
We don't know what's coming, because we don't know at the back end who owns a lot of these companies and what's happening with them truly, right?
Yeah, they're saying in the chat that it's a Swedish company and it's an Illuminati company. I don't know. I don't know.
So nothing would surprise me. So so I'm excited to do a little reading for you.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're all right. They're all. I mean,
Yeah.
unless it's like rum. I mean, like I don't know. Like they're all. It's all. I mean, I think
It's
the
gonna
way
be-
for me to go is like I think I'm gonna have to just build my own website. Like I really got to just do it. I got to get my own website and start putting everything on there.
Yeah, and then you can have content on there, and then if anything does happen in any of the platforms, then everyone can still go to your website. That's a great idea.
I mean, I have a lot of stuff now. Like all my stuff's on Rumble. It's on Rockfin. I'm on a bunch of different audio platforms. So it's, I guess, losing Spotify isn't that big of a deal. But I would still hate to lose it. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it's either going to resolve itself or there's a higher purpose. And even us having this discussion today, and everybody, sharing about the background about this company, there might be something else. Like, so for me, when things happen, like strange things like this happen, a company last year just pulled out from supporting me, from being able to support Canadians in a different way, and I never got any answers from them. They just pulled out. And then I found out months later that they don't like Starseeds and light workers.
Yeah.
So they don't like they don't want to support us. Like, even though on the outside it looks like they want to support us, they don't, right? And I will say, I agree. Like, there's a lot of other people out there who are like Joe Rogan, who are sharing whatever they want, but he also could have a connection with them where there's like a money exchange between them as well. We just don't know. So anyway, okay. So the final message, we're going to love this. We got the pink dragon, the orange dragon. We have the I am presence, and just another reminder that we are going through a big light body activations this year to bring more remembering, more source, more guidance for our soul missions. Within, we're going to be brighter lights. And then we got the green dragon, which I love the green dragons. So green dragons want us to spend time in nature, and they also support our dreams and bring abundance. And this is just when we spend time in nature with the green dragons, we receive answers and guidance, and it's aligning us with our next steps as well. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. So we got pink, orange, and green today. I think that's pretty cool. So I want to pull a couple of cards for you about the scenario because I feel like there's more to, like, there's some background information. It's like when I was I wanted to go in last Friday to get something important done, and I actually pulled cards on it because something fell off, and I was given like, no, go Monday, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so because we never know the bigger picture. We just feel like we're being picked on. So
Yeah.
so I'm just going to ask the cards for some messages around this, around you and your connection to Spotify, and see what the deal is with them.
Which deck are you using for this?
I'm using, it's the Psychic Tarot with by John Holland, I think. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to just pull all the cards and then I'll show them all because there's like a story that's unfolding. So, okay, already I'm getting that there's like been a change. There's a change in command for who's running the energy, who's running the company, which is what they were all talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the thing. There could have been just a recent change. So, so we got the sacral chakra, which is the orange energy, and then there's you spending time outside and like just clearing the energy. So there's nothing wrong with this. Not anything wrong with what you're doing or what you're sharing. You're very, very creative and joyful. And I would actually work with the orange dragon, Rob, and your team to help you with this. To help and like go and spend some time at your park or whatever and just work with them and ask. Dragons are amazing for clearing timelines and clearing out old stuff that has nothing to do with you, right? And then this one is number 5, the wisdom. So you have, that's what I mean. You're sharing wisdom. You're bringing people forward that are sharing wisdom. And I got the Ace of Swords. So you're to clear out anything that this might be bringing up from the past, from any other experiences that you've had with them from the past, and just let it go. And just ask for the universe to bring you a new timeline where you can continue to be on Spotify, and then just release it. Okay. So you are supposed to clear it. Cause I do recall, I don't remember the scenario, but I do recall like you were on Spotify for a while. And then there was something that happened earlier last year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big, it's been like constant targeting. I feel like it's targeting to a certain degree.
Yeah. And not only that. So let's say we don't know with Joe Rogan, like he might, like I said, he might have like advertising stuff wrapped up with them. They could be like, I'm feeling like there could be like a money exchange with them. But anyway, this is you're going to be stepping into your power. And I got the Justice card, which is really good. That means that justice will be served and that everything will be resolved for you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So not to worry. So that's another thing. Like, just worry is a lower vibrational energy too. So it can bring our frequency down. So just trust and have faith that it's unfolding. And you're right. It wouldn't just be you. It would be their AI nanobots have gone through and just picked up randomly some people that you have had a mark by their name. So, right. And it's nothing like, it means you're doing your job right. It means you're doing your job right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sheba says that Joe Rogan just closed a new deal with Spotify. So he's probably allowed to do whatever he wants on there because he makes them millions of dollars. You know?
Yes, that's it. Exactly. So we're not all the same. Now we understand we're not all being treated the same. Yeah. And
for sure.
Yeah. And that's like, he's a truther, but he's playing the game. Because he knows if he plays the game a certain way, he can reach more people. Yeah. So
sometimes I feel like he might be counterintelligence too, but I don't know. I'm not sure yet. You know, I don't know. I'm quite. Sometimes his views on the UFO phenomenon are like, you know, like he like tries to say that abductions are something that happens in only like a dream state, and I'm like, dude, like people get abducted during the day. You know, like,
well, I've listened to a couple of his podcasts recently, and I don't feel he's as evolved as this community.
Yeah. Oh no, he's not. No, he's nowhere near it. You know.
No. So that's what we have to remember. We have to remember that a lot of this is like we're receiving bits of information if we're called to listen to something. But I feel like your show and other truthers shows are bringing us the real deal, right? And they're not able to do that yet because, of course, there's going to be money involved. There's going to be going to be companies. I was thinking, not this show, but I was thinking another show we could pull some cards like on him and Tucker Carlson and just kind of see where they're at and who they're working for.
Yeah.
I thought that might be interesting.
I agree.
And it's all for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, it's all for entertainment purposes only. So don't take this video down, guys. YouTube, like, or you have a chill pill. You know.
That's right. That's right.
But one thing I wanted to bring up before we get into the the starseed readings, you know, we're going to do some good people today. What I was going to say was, when I was talking to my friend Marianne today, and shout out to Marianne, she's amazing. And she told me we were talking about some interesting Mandela effects. And she told me, she's like, do you remember the Publishers Clearinghouse from the 80s? And I was like, for sure. I always wanted to win it. I think all of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s wanted to win the Publishers Clearinghouse. It was like a thing, right? She said, do you remember a guy going around with a big check? And I said, sure. It was Ed McMahon. And she said, no. She said, Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. And I almost lost my mind. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, this is this is like proof that this Mandela effect is real. Like something is happening with the timelines. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, there's a lot of these, like, you know, our reality isn't what we thought it was. You know what I mean?
Not only that, I feel like they're wiping the internet as well. So I remember that because I actually even remember it. He was a sidekick on Johnny Carson's show. And they would talk about Publishers Clearinghouse, but I bet you all of that's been gone. I bet you that's all gone now. I bet you if we all tried to go on the current internet to even find out information about him, I bet you it's all been wiped.
Yeah. It's like almost like we got to do a whole show on like interesting Mandela effects. I think that would be a fun show.
I think that'd be great. Yeah. Why don't I just pull some? I just got goosebumps about it. So I know we are being each other's touchstone that it actually was real. There were advertisements. I remember even when I was younger, thinking how weird that Ed McMahon is taking these checks around to people's homes. And he would talk about it on Johnny Carson. Like they would always have their talk before they had guests on. So no, you and I are each other's memories because it did happen. But yeah, if we went to go look on the internet right now, I bet you it's gone. I bet you there's nothing there anymore. Right. And he's gone. So that's the other thing. A lot of these souls that did these certain things are no longer on the planet. They're no longer here. So they can't even speak up for themselves. Right.
Yeah, I agree. I
agree. Like,
that's
I feel
what
like
it is. They're changing
they're changing the internet. They're changing the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're changing our whole timeline, like based on like, and they think people will just forget about it. But I think people are having like real complex issues over this. Like people are starting to like realize like what is going on with our reality, that like things are just kind of like changing like this, you know, it's like, it's weird, you know?
Isn't it wild having conversations though? Like remembering, like we all absolutely remember that was a thing because there were advertisements on TV and there was no internet back then.
Yeah.
So our TV was our life.
Yeah.
What's our life? It was. Yeah. Like we, you know,
I remember when I was a kid, we only had like 2, 4, and 11. You know what I mean? That was like all there was. And then like cable came out in like the late, I can't remember when it came out, but like cable, you know what I thought was weird was like everything like progressed so fast. If you think about it, like we went from like the 80s and 90s to having like nothing to like late 90s. Now we have internet radio, we have mass cable. Now there's like 500 channels. You know, like when I grew up, I remember we would try to watch the wrestling pay-per-views and we would be watching them on a fuzzy, TV, you know what I mean? It was crazy, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was like like a lot of people would get stuff through satellite. So even here, we couldn't get anything outside of Canada except for a couple of channels. So a lot of people would hook up satellite way before the satellite companies sold, just so that we could get like different radio stations and that sort of thing. So I feel like there's always been a version of the truthers who are like, no, I don't want to be contained to my country. I want to be able to go global. And then they give us this whole, like, we think that we're global. We think that we get a lot, but then we find out, things like the flicks are not the same. They're not the same in every country. All the companies are not the same in every country. And they know, like, even like we were talking about Spotify, if you have an account with Spotify and you go to another country, it might tell you can't access your account because you're not in your country. It'll know.
Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people use a VPN for that.
Yeah.
They'll like watch a VPN and watch like Netflix in Europe or something, which would probably be interesting. I like a lot of British programming.
Me too. Yeah.
Um,
So I got the shadow card and the 5 of Cups. So the shadow card, like what they're sharing with me right now, is just it's connected to the other team, Team D. So that it's not anything that we've done. They're just going and they're clearing the chalkboard. They're wiping it as we go along, thinking, oh, people won't even notice if he's around. And I bet you if we went and looked him up, even in Wikipedia, there's nothing about whatever he did. And maybe 5 years from now, nobody will remember the Tonight Show, right? We all have to be each other's memories and go, no, Ed McMahon did a whole bunch of stuff, right? And there's this 5 of Cups. So this is an individual who's lost something. And what they want to do is and we got 2 5s, obstacles and challenges. So this process is to try and make us feel like we're not, we don't have our wits about us at all.
Yeah.
And we do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So should we start with the famous starseeds now? Wherever I wanted to talk about Elvis. I thought it was interesting. I had Miguel Connor on my show he's from Aeon Byte Gnostic Radio, and he was telling he did a whole show on the esoteric Elvis. He wrote a book on it. Elvis, I guess, was really into the occult. They said everywhere he would perform, he would take he would have his people who helped him take a stack of occult books, and he was really involved in it. He was there was a real esoteric side to Elvis, supposedly.
Yeah,
not a lot of people know that.
I'm gonna have to. I was just thinking maybe you could track down that show and stick it in your community tab or something, because I would love to go and listen to that. So Elvis started coming to me last year. I don't know if y'all remember, we had this huge, because it might have been before Rob and I connected, we had this green comet that came in this month last year, and it came from out of our solar system. It apparently had 4,000 years of information, and it was a rogue, they called it a rogue comet. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I started having dreams and working with Elvis through that comet. And it's so interesting because then I did his astrology last year, so that's why I wanted to bring him up today. An amazing individual, and I feel like he knew that he was unique. He knew that he had a destiny. I don't think he had the word starseed, but he knew that he was like a comet. That's what he shared with me last year. He literally changed the music industry. He changed fashion. And if you think about, he really wasn't around for very long. How old was he when he passed away, Rob? I'm trying to think.
Maybe I think he was 40s? In his 30s, right?
Yeah, maybe 30s, early 40s. Yeah, so he transformed himself, and not just the US, the whole planet. And if you think about it, the only other places that he went and performed besides the US, he came to Canada, but and Hawaii, he wasn't able, if any of you saw the last movie as well, it was quite sad, but he wanted to go and travel. The only time he ever traveled was when he was in Germany, when he was stationed in Germany in the 50s. So he transformed the music industry, fashion, the movie industry. He touched everything. And what he shared with me last year was he was like a comet. And that's what comets do. That's when I started to understand when comets come in, they transform, they kind of drop all this energy and this intel. They carry information, and they come and they transform everything. They go around the sun, they make a pass, and then they leave. And we don't have them all the time. I went to see if there was another comet right now, and there isn't. We might have one in the fall. So it's not like they're common that they come that close here all the time. The other interesting thing about his galactic starseed chart is he has not had any other lifetimes on Earth. So that's what's so interesting about when I started to do galactic astrology for myself and for some other clients last year, right off the bat, what I noticed was he just had a lot of aspects in the first level and nothing else in any of the other levels. So he really came in here to do his mission and then leave. And I'm
going to share my screen while you're talking about it. I found an interesting article. I'm going to see if I can pull it up. They're saying that he was a healer too. he was being credited as a healer. And I remember when me and Miguel did that show, we talked about that. Like we talked about we that's exactly what we talked about. So let me see if I can
so while you're
can
looking it
share
up,
this.
his main planetary system that he's connected to is Lyra, and that aspect came in 1, 2, 3, 5 times. So he was absolutely Lyran. Lyran is connected to the Leo energy, being in our power, coming in like with a roar and changing everything. So he was mainly connected to Lyra, and then he has a couple of connections to Hydra, but that lower aspects, like, and really Lyra is the one that sticks out, and then a little bit with the Sirian energy as well.
Can you see this? Can you see
Yeah.
Can you see?
I can't see it. I can't really. Do you want to read?
Okay.
Is there something that you want to read?
It's so it says essay St. Elvis contained in the 1999 book Elvis Culture. Author Erica Doss quotes an Elvis devotee who calls Elvis a mediator and an intercessor between her and God. Frequent post-death sightings imply that he somehow cheated, escaped, defeated, transcended in his life. Elvis was perceived about caring about people, including donations, generous, caring, empathic nature is often considered a prerequisite of sainthood. And a trust sign of a saint, Elvis has been credited as a healer. Healing has occurred in response to his image icon as well as his voice. Elvis is frequently compared to an angel. As phenomena in the music career, spiritual phenomena as Elvis is multinational and international. He's the frequent subject of Mexican Day of the Dead. Images are often, but this doesn't get into much of his occult stuff. I thought it would, but maybe it does. I don't know.
Well, when I
further
did some
reading, you can go into. He was
like
really into magic too. You know.
Yeah,
So
well, what I got
was,
into, well, he was from the South, and what I've learned even through last year is that there's the occult in the South is huge. It's huge. The other thing that came through last year was he had the time and the money when he wasn't performing to dive deep into like researching and reading all sorts of books and that sort of thing. So he had the time to expand his consciousness. You know, he got into martial arts. He started understanding about energy and all that sort of thing. He was, you know, in the movie and the music industry, so I'm sure that he knew. We could do another show about this another time, but I feel like all the celebrities that get in that have lots of problems with medication and substances is because they find out what's really going on and they can't control it. They're already being controlled. Like he was being controlled by his management company and the manager, and he was also, you know, even in the story of him wanting to leave, wanting him to exit and lead a private life, he was wrapped up in contracts and scenarios. So,
you know what?
I think
That's so interesting you say that, because that's kind of what happened with Art Bell too. Art Bell died of a when he died, they found that he had like 3 different prescriptions of like painkillers in his bloodstream or whatever. And maybe it's because he learned so much stuff, because he did like occult paranormal radio for like years. So I wonder what he knew that drove him to, you know, this. That's just a good example of that, of kind of what you said, you know.
yeah, I started because all of the entertainers that I loved growing up, like even someone like Judy Garland, we'll look at her another time too. I feel like they got to a certain point and then they really found out the truth, and it was for some of them it was so mind blowing. It just threw them over the edge, right? I want to just ask Elvis, like I'm just gonna with his Galactic Akashic records, if there's any, like I'm pulling from the Gateway deck, if there's any other information that he wants us to know about. Okay, so the Orion card came in, so that means like he knew about the Dark Ones. So he found out that behind the fame and the glory and the money and everything that he was doing. That's why he loved the fans. That's why he kept entertaining right up until the end, which just did him in, because that was his connection, his love for the people. You know, that he loved connecting with people in person and live. But the Orion card, when that one comes in, it means that he knew about the dark occult. He knew about the dark forces that were behind all the industries as well. Let me just see what else wants to come in. Okay, so this is so interesting, this card. This is the Akashic Records. He also came in to clear or old stories and release past lives. So he knew about past lives. And the last word is freedom. So he just wants to let everybody know that he's free now. And that's that's a Lyran energy too. Lyran energy is empowerment, being a lion and being free, right? Like the movie Born Free. So he came in and did what he needed to do, but he's not too interested in coming back. feels like he promised to come in and do this one big mission, and then like he's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to come back. Not in that
Yeah,
way. Not in
I
that way.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe he feels like he did what he was meant to do, you know, and that was maybe make change. You know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
and the other thing is that I had a fascinating conversation with another starseed this morning. In a way, that wording of working on our inner demons, it works both ways, as if people end up in some type of addiction because their ego gets into this like money and fame, and we can have whatever we want and 24/7, right? But then on the other hand, then what happens is it starts to wear everybody down. And literally he would have been searching for answers to help him through that as well. Yeah. Yeah. So is there
Yeah.
anything else like that you look when you did a whole show on him? Is there anything else that you wanted to bring forward about Elvis?
I can't remember. You know, that's what sucks. Like I can't remember. I can't remember enough about it. I wish I would have watched that show today. You know, like
That's okay. Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I think like I've come out the other side about the entertainment industry too, because it's an unfolding story. But I feel like a lot of souls, like if we think about it, so let me just go back. He was born in 1935. Like the film industry would have just, as a kid, like just even going to a movie would have been a big thing. Going to see like live theater would have been like, there was no TV back then. So
Yeah,
the dreams of individuals from his era would be completely different from now. But when I just did that card reading, he did find out towards the end, and it broke his heart about what was really going on, how the music and film industry, where the money was coming from and what was going on. Yeah.
that's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of the people that we chose to talk about today are super fascinating.
Yeah, I'm reading. I should pull this up. It says here that Princess Di had a deadly encounter with a spirit medium. I don't know about that. Like,
Well,
I looked up.
she was also very into going to healers and readers, and she was a ferocious reader. She like read
Really?
all yeah, she like well, apparently that's one side of the family, the royals, that they were open to that. So at the time when I found out about that, I thought, "Oh, that's amazing. They're actually more hip than we know." Now I feel like what they were doing was they were researching things so that they could counteract it with their stuff, their magic, right? They were studying it, but she wasn't she married into that. She wasn't part of that original lineage, and she did go to healers. She went to like acupuncturists and energy healers, and she was into astrology and all that sort of thing. So she was very expanded. Again, she wasn't very old when she transitioned. If she transitioned, we don't know. Let me pull up her information, and then I want to pull some cards from her and just see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what's interesting, a connection between her and you, and we'll look at your stuff another maybe next show, Rob. She also she only had like one other life, really, that was like she is a star seed. They're all star seeds, right? She also, this is so fascinating. Her main aspect is from Lyra. So she also was from the same
Oh
system
wow.
that Elvis was connected to as well. And I saw a pattern with all the people that I chose today. The other main system that many of them are connected to is the Sirius star system. And so to me, the Syrians are hilarious because to me, they always just say Syrians are serious. They have a serious mission. So she was very connected to the main bright star, the Canis major and minor stars in the Sirius star system. And she's also connected to Spica. She has one aspect connected to Spica, which is what you and I talked about last time.
Yeah.
That you think that you were connected to Spica as well.
Yeah, I felt like I had a galactic reading done, and I was told that I have a connection there. That's my
Yeah.
origins. I'm not
Yeah.
sure
So
though.
yeah, well, yeah. So we can look at if you want me, I can look into your galactic astrology next time. She also, this is interesting. She came in to help transmute energy around the Draco system and the Orion system. So she too knew. Like at the end, she knew. Yeah. I feel like that must be quite like I mean for me, I don't know about you, Rob, but for how long you've known, like when you really woke up to the Illuminati and everything, but I really didn't know about a lot about it until 2020. I couldn't look at it. It wasn't my area of expertise. I didn't want to know about it. So I feel like a lot of these souls, whatever, whether they're still here and undercover or whether they've transitioned into another reality and timeline, she knew at the end that she was being
Yeah,
chased. And that what's so interesting about the Orion system, and the Orion system is called the Hunter. And I thought yesterday, okay, what does the royal family do? They hunt. And there's other stories that they hunt other things as well. So isn't that interesting that she was part of that and then she became part of being hunted?
wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's that's just that's fascinating. That
Yeah.
really is. Like, it makes me. I think. I honestly think her death wasn't an accident. I think it was. But why did they take her out though? Was it because she knew?
Ooh, she knew Inner Earth came in. So she knew
Oh
about
wow.
she knew about the tunnels. She knew about what was really going on. Um, and I feel I want to pull some more cards. I feel like she was going to expose it. Like
Yeah,
I
probably.
feel like she was being like I feel like that was the threat because if you think about it, one of her last interviews, she exposed a lot about the royal family. She could have exposed a lot more, but she
Yeah.
exposed a lot. Yeah, and she also got Earth Star activation and ISIS, so she was very much like grounded and on a mission. She knew
Yeah.
she was here on a mission. She was very clear about that from early on, and especially when she knew that that life was falling apart and that she was going to have to create a new life. She was pretty okay about it because she knew she was here on a mission and she knew she was here to clear old energy. She was connected to the angels, the angelic frequency, and I'm just hearing like her mission with the children was two-sided because she knew what they were doing with the children. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was
That's a shame.
terrified she was terrified. Yeah, well, she was terrified what was going to happen with her kids as well. She was very worried about the boys.
Do you think she knew about the bloodlines? Like that their bloodlines
Yes.
go back to like.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like she saw saw them shape shifting.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think she was a shapeshifter, or do you think
No,
she was
no.
like more
She married.
angelic?
No, she married in. Yeah, she was more angelic. She married into it. She married into it. But she
Okay.
know, like looking from her at her galactic astrology. So she came in, her main aspect is Lyran, but she also has. I had to look up Hydra. So myself too. Like I researched some of the galactic systems last night because I too, I'm mainly from Andromeda, so I too am like relearning and remembering like what's going on in our solar system. And she's connected to Hydra, and Hydra was the downfall of the feminine, the Hydra system. So souls that came in from the Hydra system came in to work with empowering themselves as a divine feminine. So if we think about it, she did that for so many. Like she was so welcomed by the planet. She was so loved by everybody, women and men. Her fashion, her kindness. She talked to all sorts of individuals and all walks of life. And she, on a soul level, she knew about the dark teams. But I feel like she was, when that happened, I believe she actually found out before she got married. And that was quite a shock, but she went through with it anyway.
What are your thoughts on Michael Jackson? Like that I mean, like because like people say he was like a child molester and stuff like that. And then like it's hard to say because like some people like still like look up to him. You know what I mean? Like he was like
I think we should
like
add him to the next show because I feel like he was a complex being that also at the end knew that he was being manipulated but was trapped in contracts, and I also feel like he was abused right from the word go. Like as
oh
a
yeah,
small child,
yeah, for
as
sure.
like
His
MK
dad had
Ultra and
them
the whole
like
bit. MK Ultra and the whole
Yeah.
bit.
His
Yeah.
dad had them like training from like day one on how to sing and dance, and Joe Jackson was like ruthless about that stuff,
Yeah, and
and
we could look into Motown, because look at how powerful Motown, that was their first contract, right? So look at how powerful Motown rose up in the 60s and
I
became
love
like a
Motown too.
Me
I really
too.
do.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
big fan of Motown, and
Me too.
what's
Like, and
interesting is like
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say, if you look at the music Michael Jackson made, some of it's so about peace and love and coming
Yeah.
together, and anti-racism and stuff. It's like maybe he
Yeah.
was set up, because he was
Yeah.
trying to push a benevolent narrative. He wasn't trying to. I don't think he ever said anything evil, but I mean, there was so much damning evidence against him, so it makes it hard for me to because like I went back and I've listened to his music, and a lot of it's about like just what I said, but and then there's like all this like stuff, and Michelle Henley says boys admitted he slept in his bed in his interview. It's not normal to have kids sleep over. Would you let your kids? Hell no. Hell no, I wouldn't either.
But maybe he was conditioned that that's what he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he went to these parties, him and a bunch of other kids slept with the adults, right? Like, we don't know. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I think the bottom line is we're not to judge anybody, because we don't know what they went through as children. And the stories that, I mean, I loved I loved the Jacksons when I was little, and I loved Michael. Towards the end, it just broke my heart how he transformed and how he just looked so unhealthy and so sad, because and I know like some of the, so I feel like I'm going to pull some cards on him, but I feel like he had a good heart. I feel like he wanted to do a lot of positive things, but I also feel like he was breaking through his programming, right? A lot of individuals will be programmed, but then break through their programming. And then on the other hand, he was trapped by money, by living a lifestyle beyond his means, and by having these contracts, and they probably had stuff on him, like they had stuff on everybody.
Yeah, Laura Adescott says he was set up, I believe. Marianne Tesoro says, I have theories on MJ. I'll tell you about it. They were just discrediting him. But then Sandy Miller says, those loving views of anti-racism was part of the Jehovah's Witness religion he grew up in. I don't know. I mean,
that to me, like even Jehovah Witness and their family, to me, doesn't mesh. Like that seems very bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to wrap up with Princess Diana, and then I'll pull some cards for Michael Jackson. So the Illuminati card came in, so she knew about the Illuminati.
Wow. Yeah. The cards don't lie.
No, they don't lie. So let's just ask. I'm just going to ask for a couple of cards about Michael Jackson, and then I would like to look up his galactic astrology for another show. He was such a starseed. I agree. Like, I feel like, so he was told he had to do this, this, and this, but I feel like he created songs and he did things towards the end that would be memorable to help the earth and to help children. So he wanted to leave a positive memory besides all the other stuff, right? Besides all the bad press and all the court cases and everything. So, and still to this day, Macaulay Culkin, is that how he spells his name? How did we say his name?
Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone.
Yeah, he to this day he wouldn't testify against him. So yeah. And I think even before Lisa Marie passed away, she insisted that he wasn't what he was being projected as, that he was a good person. Yeah.
I mean, we know, one thing that we do know is that nowadays they can set anybody up and make it look like, how they want,
Yeah. And he was involved, like at this point, you're a big star. You've got big contracts with big companies. And, I think you get called into rooms and lots of things are like, you have to do this, you have to do this. Like, I don't feel, especially now, I don't feel that they own their destiny. I feel like as soon as they sign a contract, they're a brand and they're just told what to do. So, okay. So Michael was very spiritual. He was very much about family. He knew about being a starseed. So it'll be super interesting for me to look up his galactic information another time. This is called Star Gathering, Soul Family, Stars Aligning. He also had a very big heart, got the Stargate heart. And that's interesting because in the back is the Emerald City, like the Wizard of Oz. And he did do that movie, The Wiz. with Diana Ross. So he
I
loved all
remember
that.
that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That
The
was
Wiz
before
was,
my
it was not
time, but
it was not a great remake, but he loved all of that. Like he loved old Hollywood. He loved like all those stories and the fairy tales, and he really was a child at heart. He really was. And the actually, you know what the card says? Generosity. He was generous beyond his means. And that means that got him into trouble. That means that he ran out of resources and he would get roped into like, no, we own you and you have to go do this. Okay. And he knew of, okay, this is interesting. The divine matrix. He's letting me know that he knew about the matrix versus the divine matrix. So he knew about us all being in a matrix, but he also knew that there was another, like he was very spiritual as well.
yeah.
So probably if we dove deep into him, he probably was also like, he was obsessed with Elvis. He loved Elvis. That's how he ended up meeting Lisa Marie, right? So he wanted to be as big as Elvis. That was it.
Yeah.
That's why he wanted to be the king of pop. So he didn't know until later about how the industry worked. He just knew he wanted to be famous like Elvis.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so interesting.
Is there any more we wanted to do for today before we finish up? I didn't realize it's already been 55 minutes. Like,
I know.
we might have to do.
Well, we could do part 2 next time. Was there anyone that booked a reading? Was there any, and I can do a reading for someone?
There was just Dawn. Oh wait, Dawn just gave a super chat. I think if I go back in the chat, I can find 1 or 2 people who wanted readings.
Yeah. So why don't we wrap up with the readings, and then we can do JFK and who else, and Tesla next time.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, we kind of touched on JFK last time too. You know what I mean? Like we
did. I think the reason I brought them up again was because I wanted to look into their galactic. I can just, while you're looking, I'll just quickly just talk about it, and then we can look at different people next time. So this is another thing. John F. Kennedy was actually born in 1917. Like that blew my mind.
Wow.
So, and he was a Gemini, born on his sun sign was in Gemini. So he was born on March 29th. He too, his main aspect was a planetary system I didn't know about, but he was mainly connected to the Sirius star system, both Canis Major and Minor. Yeah, so that's what he did. And then I looked at John F. Kennedy Jr., his son, and let me just find that, because what was interesting with John F. Kennedy Jr., when was he born? He was born obviously in Washington, D.C. He was born in 1960. I like the time he was born, 12:22 a.m., 222. So he was a Sagittarius. Now, the really interesting thing with John F. Kennedy Jr. is he didn't have a main aspect connected with his sun sign. That's the first time I've seen that. That was really unusual. And he came in, his main aspect that he was connected to was also the Sirius system, and it's because his dad was. So they had an agreement for him to come in and be John F. Kennedy, the president. They had a soul agreement for John F. Kennedy Jr. to come in and be the son and take the baton and carry it forward.
Wow. The only one we had for a personal reading was Andromedan. And then I think someone else, but I can't find her comment right now.
Okay. Okay.
So
well, maybe we can do them next time. So I thought Dawn had booked something too.
Dawn just gave a super chat, and he said,
okay.
I'm happy. Blessings to you both. Maybe create our abundance. Spinja can help with your website, Rob. So I don't think he wanted a reading, but
okay.
Andromeda definitely wanted one, and if we could maybe do one for him before we go.
Sure. Did Andromeda have a question?
He just says, can I request a general reading?
Okay, sure, no problem. The galactic astrology, there are people out there who that's all they do. Now, what's interesting, everybody, is when I tried to do Tesla was born in 1856. I couldn't find any way to do regular astrology for him. I had to actually go and find out information for him, so we can talk a little bit more about him next time, because his story is fascinating. Actually, I'll just talk about it now. He was born in Croatia. He knew that he had a destiny. He was connected to Venus and Sirius, and he was receiving downloads, and he was being all of his visions and his what's the word, whatever he created was given to him, and he went through a remembering. So I read up about the Venetians can process things like 6-10 times faster than a regular human. So he knew he was galactic, and he knew he had a mission. And in the end, he had a system, like a protection system, to help North America through the fighting over in Europe, and they shut him down. So then he knew about the Illuminati, and then he went into depression. And then apparently, you maybe have done shows on this, that he actually, when he passed away, all of his information disappeared. So all of his notebooks, all of his inventions, everything vanished.
Wow. The other person was Maria. That's one of your subscribers, I think. She says, is it possible to request a personal reading in level a card or two, going through a lot of health and past trauma related stuff? She says she has to get to bed soon. She must be from another country or something. She says, I love you guys.
Aw, thanks.
So maybe we could do one, like a combo reading for Maria and Andromeda or something. Or,
sure. I'll just how about if I just pull one card for Andromeda, and then I'll pull a couple for Maria.
Okay.
And if nothing, okay. So Andromeda, you are going through a soul star activation right now. This is an eighth chakra. There's the Merkabah's coming super strongly. I feel like everyone's Merkabah's getting upgraded and activated this year. That's part of our transport system, so we can teleport, etc. So you're right now, Andromeda, you're fulfilling soul contracts and remembering who you are. I love that. And that's too, like, I had to, that's why I have to research our star constellations around the earth, because I'm not originally from here either. So it's like I have to go in and remember stuff too. But yes, there are people out there who that's all they do. They just do galactic astrology. Astrology is a science. It's a lot, like, to study and to create charts and all of that. So I just like to briefly dive in, because I was interested for myself. Okay, I'm now asking for, like, Akashic messages for Maria. What was she saying? She's not feeling well. She's not having.
She says she's going through health and past trauma related stuff. She says she had to get to bed soon.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Maria. So you're clearing old stories right now. So our bodies actually physically carry the old stories. They carry the ancestral. So some of what you're healing and clearing right now is ancestral patterns. So and it just says you're clearing old stories, you're releasing past lives to be free. And I went through a huge health thing for a couple of weeks in January, when Pluto went into Aquarius, and I feel like that's what a lot of us it's the strangest thing, because we just think we're walking around in these human bodies, but our bodies are computers. So every cell, every bone, liver, like all the organs are carrying old imprints from our ancestors. You are gonna, and you know what? You got this retreat. Your body is making you retreat to recharge and to trust the process. So you're gonna be okay. Okay. And you also got the emerald tablet activation. Now this is interesting. It says cosmic ordering and conscious manifesting. So spend time resting and recharging and rebooting, and then work with your team about your next steps. But you will feel better. It's like I think anytime any of us are hit with something when we're not feeling well, it always feels like, oh, am I ever going to get through this? But you will get through it. You're kind of, when we're not well, we're being removed from people, places, things, so we can reboot and recharge, and then we come out refreshed. We come out with a new timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been amazing, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you and how they can book a reading with you and stuff? And
you can check out my website. I've got lots of things going on this month, including we're being activated and working with the dragons. And email me. Email me is the best way to get a hold of me. So thanks everyone for coming. It was fun.
Yeah, I had an awesome. This is always. Oh, I dropped something. But I had an awesome time. It's always fun. And thank you, Pink Bella, and thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. And I'll be back. I have to do another show at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ra Castaldo. We're going to do crystal skull readings. So that should be fun. That should be fun too. So, all right, guys, and thank you, Pink Bella, and thank you everybody for